I live alone and I'm social distancing, so no sex for Ivy until this is over. Oh my God, I need a sip of my drink. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank God I have sex tape in my brain. This is Ivy, and you're listening to Slut Shame This. All right, guys, it is your host, Ivy LaBelle, and today we're going to be talking about sex tapes. In a time of social distancing, in a time of uncertainty, maybe we can teach ourselves to make our own pornos or at least enjoy watching others do so. By the time this comes out, who knows what the fuck's gonna be happening? This will come out in a few days.
What day is it? What year is it?
Exactly. It is Wednesday, so technically an episode should have dropped, but you know, life is weird right now. We were trying to figure out how to do the podcast remotely, and then we decided to come in and do it IRL. Kevin and I are in the same room. We are
Scandal.
6 feet apart. But I've been social distancing to all hell. I live alone, so unless I am going to the store, I am alone. And Kevin and his wife are my chosen family, so you know we have what do you call it, a cohort?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean we're just hanging out with cats, so
yeah.
We do have the remote podcast ready to go.
Yeah, we set that up today. So because again, everything seems to be changing so quickly that if it does get to another level, which I hope it doesn't, but you know, we are prepared to still create content. So how have you been feeling lately?
Good. Yeah, I've been consuming a lot of Insta Live. Instagram Live stories.
Everyone's popping off with the Insta Live.
Lots of memes.
I keep accidentally clicking on people's when they first start them, and I'm like the first one to join, and it's like, Ivy LaBelle joined. I'm like, no. I didn't mean to. Yeah, exactly.
Game off.
I even got called out like, oh, hi, Ivy. And I was like, oh my God, I've been here for 2 seconds. Let me out. I've been fortunate enough to be able to still generate income without having to be on set. The last scene I shot was 2 weeks ago, but I've been doing my OnlyFans.
Shout out.
Yeah. Feel free to come hang out with me on my OnlyFans if you are lonely and bored. That's a whole other situation. But I'm really lucky that I'm able to still provide myself some money. It does get a little boring, you know, just masturbating in front of an iPhone by yourself. But we're talking about something like that today. We're talking about sex tapes. And I'm very familiar with them. And I think it's a fun subject because A, anyone can do it. B, it's launched some of the hugest careers in Hollywood. And C, it's becoming more and more and more normalized and popular. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. So that is what we're going to talk about today is sex tapes. Because while we're at home alone, whether we're partnered or by ourselves, we're either going to be watching other people's sex tapes or maybe making our own for funsies. Let's get into it. Kevin, have you ever made a sex tape?
Never.
Why not?
I always felt silly doing it. I think it's the same reason we touched on the episode about relationships and touring and whatnot. I just always feel like like phone sex and sex tapes. I don't know.
No, not for you.
Yeah.
What if it was like POV? So you only really have to see your penis.
Interesting.
I feel like that's what most guys prefer if they're like, unless you're like a real narcissist that wants to like watch yourself like give it to her. I feel like most guys usually want to make a sex tape so they can like relive those moments with you when you're not there.
Yeah.
So I think POV porn is super hot because of that. The times that I've done stuff not to be used for Ivy, because I did sex tapes before I actually did like proper porn. It was always POV, and it was usually like for the guy, and like I would get really embarrassed. Like I didn't want to see it. Like I had no problem doing it, but I didn't like to like watch it myself. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Because there's things like, am I gonna look like a monster? Am I gonna look gross? What faces do I make when I have sex? I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah.
What does my body look like at this angle with my knees in this position? And for me, now I know all of those. I know I have all the answers to all those questions. But that for me before was a huge reason why like they were not my favorite thing, but I started experimenting with them when I was like dating a guy that was in porn because I kind of trusted him to catch the angles.
So what was like when you transitioned from having that fear about like, oh no, like what am I going to look like, to now being on the other side and knowing, like having gone through that and understanding like the angles or, you know, this is how to look cute while we're doing it in doggy or whatever.
Yeah.
What are some like tips and tricks or like any advice you could share for people who are just getting into that?
So there's like so many different ways you can like approach a sex tape. If you are concerned about looking attractive, which is totally fine, it's gonna have a different vibe than something that's gonna be really organic. For me, when I'm doing scenes, sometimes I'm thinking more about how I look, and sometimes I'm thinking more about the moment. That's like mostly like a chemistry thing when it comes down to it. But our iPhones now, the quality, it like naturally filters you, I think. Like just a little. I don't know, everything looks so good. So I feel like personally, if you're not using it to like post on like Pornhub and stuff, I like to keep the phone vertical. I like the vertical look.
Do you do front facing or do you want to see?
So the quality is like slightly less crisp when it's on front facing, but I always use front facing because how annoying would it be to set up a camera and do the whole thing and realize like you were 3/4 out of the picture the whole time. And like for me, when I make them at home, I always have them front facing and I have it set up on like a little tripod at the end of my bed, and that way I can kind of glance over from time to time to make sure that we haven't drifted off into like an area where you can't see anything. And also for when you're making sex tapes for jerk off purposes, which is most likely the case, you want to open up, you want to see the good stuff. So having that front facing camera, you can like kind of glance over and see if like you're completely closing up or if you can like kind of open up to see penetration more, stuff like that. A lot of the time, like with like pussy eating stuff, I always have girls turn on their hip a little bit. So you're not like laying straight on your back. You're laying on your hip with your pelvis facing the camera. So then I kind of will rest my cheek on the thigh. And that way can you picture it?
Yeah.
And so it's like that like little things like that people that don't do porn would never think about.
So opening up is literally just like...
It's like they call it opening up in porn. That's like the term. And it's basically like making sure if there's a tongue on a vagina, you can see it. If there's a dick in an asshole, you got to see it. Like, so if you're shooting a porno the whole time and you literally can't see any of that, then like for the porno, it's kind of, useless. But when I feel like it's coming to like making your own sex tapes, you got to think about what your desires are. If you want to kind of just capture like some intimate moments with your partner, then I would say just set up your phone on like against some books, or if you want to like get a tripod to like do the most you can. But I've literally like just totally MacGyvered this shit and like been like, all right, I'm gonna put this in the windowsill and I'm gonna like, you know, station these books and just keep the phone there and then just hit record and go for it. And as long as you kind of have like that wide shot of the whole bed or couch or kitchen or wherever you are, you know, outdoor area. It's fun to feel and look really sexy. And a lot of girls even will use like filters during a sex tape. So
and is that like a Snapchat thing, or is there a specific app? Are you using the video app just in the camera on the phone?
So
on the
Snapchat
iPhone?
only lets you, I think, record 1 minute at a time, which is like, and that's annoying, you know, because it's like you have to.
Hopefully that's not the whole experience.
One can only hope. I would take it right now, a whole minute. But yeah, so what I've done in the past is like I've done like a solo video before, and like I realized like the lighting wasn't like the most flattering and I didn't love it, but I didn't want it to go to waste. So I uploaded it into Snapchat and then used one of the filters and then re-downloaded it. It's obviously not going to have like a super high quality look, but I've seen a lot of people like use like the bunny filters and that kind of stuff too, and like making either solo or POV stuff. But I believe if you're making something where you want to use the Snapchat filters that actually have like the face changing elements, I think you have to be like recording it in real time, in which someone would have to like have their phone on them the whole time, which is also not a problem. Like, 'cause again, for like POV, it is just more annoying, and it's something that like you have to be more experienced in to do, because you're, as a normal sexual being, you're probably not thinking, oh shit, the Snapchat timer just ran out, I have to like keep recording. Like, you know, like I'd imagine if I was the guy that had never filmed it and like my girlfriend was like, hey, like get this shot of me blowing you with like the dog filter on or whatever, like after a minute I wouldn't know to like, oh shit, it stopped recording, I need to do it again. I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever.
You'd be like, I'm concentrating on something.
Exactly. Also, to make the lighting look nicer, if you like really want to, you know, jazz it up, a little ring light is awesome. A lot of people already have them. They're great for like putting makeup on. Any YouTubers got a ring light. They're great to just have, honestly, like, especially if you do makeup and stuff, and you don't want to take some pretty glamour shots, whatever. And it's great for sex tapes because it comes with the little tripod that you can put your iPhone in. You know, it's adjustable, so you can figure out the height. That's mostly what I use at home when I make my stuff. That way it has like a higher quality. And then I also like to dress it up with like neon lights too. Like I have all these different little neon signs that I get from Amazon, and like I'll add those into the mix just to add like, I definitely know lighting tech, but it just makes it a little more interesting and flattering too sometimes. You know, there's obviously like certain positions that are like more flattering than others for certain people. So say your titties are your favorite part, then like do some POV and have it be missionary. Show off the titties. And if you're like insecure about like your stomach, which is something that I sometimes am, doggy is the go-to. It's like that's where I feel the hottest. So when you're making a sex tape, and you know what your stronger suits are, what you feel more confident in, then like start there so you won't be like so hard on yourself, because it is sometimes a little challenging to see yourself in that way. So for me, when I first started, like experimenting, I would have my ex like, I was like, only film me blowing you, only film me and doggy, and like turn off the camera otherwise. And then I like saw that and I was like, wait, that's like way hotter than I thought it was gonna be. Like let's do more.
And was that something? I mean, this is a good segue into like, what was the conversation leading up to it? Like, did you discuss ground rules? Did you say like, hey, we're gonna make this thing because I'm excited about this, but it's only for you, or it's only for us to watch, or like I want you to delete it afterwards? What was that kind of conversation leading up to it?
Well, I mean, I feel like honestly I was like drunk and I was like, film me sucking your cock. It was like that kind of thing, which I think happens a lot.
Yeah. Which
goes into like, what if that happens with someone that like you don't really trust or know that well, and you decide to hook up with them and they take pictures of you guys fucking, or there's a video taken, like what happens the next day, and how do we go about that, because that gets weird.
Yeah.
I know it's illegal to post any kind of pornography. If anyone that hasn't had like a model release with IDs and everything, so even like worst case scenario, if someone did post something of you, it would get taken down very quickly, because that shit's just like, it's a no-go. But you still don't want to have to deal with that. So I'm like raising this question because I don't have an answer. I'm like, what do you do? Like, what do you do the next day if you like, because now it's like more common than ever. And now that I am, like clearly a porn star, I don't give a shit. Like if you record me, but
I mean, for you, so now what is that conversation for you? Do you do a lot of sex tapes just for fun?
Yeah. No, actually, like this one person that I was hanging out with last summer, he was a photographer, and he would take photos while we were fucking, like randomly here and there, and we never really talked about it because I guess I didn't care. I know he's not going to try to make money off of these. And if he releases them, then like, that's cool. I would have already released them if I knew that he was fine with it. But I don't have a model release from him and his penis, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But that's like something that I'm interested in with people that don't, or that, or even if, not everyone is as chillaxed on this subject as me. So I am curious, like the morning after, like, can you guys like tweet or write in and tell me like, what would you do the next day? You get drunk, you go home with someone, you're like, videotape this. I just said videotape. Oh my God.
Get your camcorder.
Get the camcorder. I mean, now it's cool now.
Yeah.
If you get your Super 8. Let's make this a snuff film. No.
Listen, go into your mom's basement from 1993 and find the Betamax tapes.
I would love to make some VHS porn now.
Go on eBay. I'm sure you can find a camcorder.
Aesthetics, but like I would need someone else to do it. But regardless, like, what do you do? Because I feel like when I started doing it, we still weren't quite there with like everyone posting sex stuff on Twitter and things being like uploadable so quickly and easily. Like I feel like Instagram didn't even have the video feature yet when I first started like messing around with it. So even then it just felt less likely to end up on the internet. Now it feels like the second you record something, like you bat your eyelash and it could be. I think that's like the scarier idea of like, making a mistake of hooking up with someone and like putting it on film and how quickly it could go up. And I can just imagine that like if you took legal action, it would get taken down immediately because it's like just so super illegal. On every set that I do professionally, and then even people that I shoot content with, I take a photo of two forms of like a government issued identification. So something with a photo and then whatever, a social security card, passport, whatever. I do bunny ears. So you have them and hold up their IDs next to their face. So you have that. Like some people go as far as to like have the newspaper with like the date. And
Wow.
Have, like,
Okay.
yeah. So, and like to have that all documented, and then just like a simple model release. But you have to have all the documentation that they're over 18 because it gets really crazy. So you are protected in that way. But again, like I've never had anything get posted to me that I didn't want to get posted. Like kind of leads into something even more menacing, which is like revenge porn, because I feel like there's like gross behavior of like, you know, it's neither of it's good, but it's even grosser when someone's posting something of you with the intention to like harm you or your reputation. Something that I feel like is really common is like this revenge porn thing, and I can't imagine like being a teenager and how we are with our phones now and how easy it is for just anyone to pick up and record and post. So I know that shit is super illegal. And I actually did I ever tell you that someone made a Twitter account about me when I wasn't in porn?
No.
When I was a makeup artist and I was touring with the artist that I was touring with, this random Twitter account popped up, and it was called like haha gross or something, because I was on a site a long time ago when I was like 18, and don't love the photos. They're up there. I'm never gonna like show them to anyone. If you find them, you'll know what I'm talking about, but they're out there on the internet. And I never really told anyone about it because I just didn't like the photos. I didn't like that time of my life. It was what it was, and I wanted it buried. And I had someone make a Twitter account and basically started following all my employers, started following all my friends. Like this person like knew me.
Wow.
They were following artists that I did makeup for, companies I did makeup for, and they were tweeting nude photos of me at my employers, being like look at this.
Wow.
And also fans of my clients that were like 14. They were like tweeting them like,
Jesus.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, and you know, I got it taken down within 24 hours. And the only reason I knew about it so fast, I wasn't even on Twitter at the time, but a friend of mine worked at Twitter and was like, this account just started following me, and I'm guessing it's not you. And so it is crazy. Like, I know this kind of took like a sidebar, but it's kind of like the nasty side of like what's, you know, can happen when you allow yourself to be photographed sexually, explicitly. These are things that you have to think about. And for me, I was able to get that account taken down because it was harassment and bullying. But at the same time, like those pictures are still like legally up because I did sign, you know, the...
Right, because they were just like they were like aggregating from something that was already existed.
Yeah, that was ancient. Like it was, but
wow.
People will do that. So this is food for thought if you decide that you do want to make a sex tape. Right. I mean, there are repercussions, and even though we're in a really sex positive world, we're now having a sex tape leaked can literally create a career for you. Kim Kardashian, anyone, even Paris Hilton, you know, it's still, you know, once it's out there, it's kind of out there. We kind of did sidebar, but that is like something important to think about before you even go there is, you know, in 10 years, is this going to come back to haunt me, or am I going to be totally okay with this? Is this like cool? Do I trust the person I'm making this with? And like that, we were kind of also talking about like, you know, I think now if I was not in porn and I wanted to make a sex tape with someone, I'd fucking write up a contract. I'd be like, this
you can go on LegalZoom.com and get like a boilerplate whatever contract. Doesn't have to be for a sex tape. It just can be a two-party agreement. Like
this cannot be sold. It cannot be used for anything else. And if, you know, it's only for personal use. But then it's like, what does personal use mean? Like, can you show your friends? Like, what's the violation? Like, if I make a sex tape with my boyfriend and I want my girlfriends to see this him fucking me, like, is that a violation? Like it starts getting very gray.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think, well, let me just preface this by saying that, like, I'm definitely an extrovert, and I am a performer, so I like that.
Yeah.
But I'm also a very private person, so I think it's related back to being like a control freak.
Yeah.
And the idea of, like, I would want to make sure it was edited perfectly.
Right.
I would want to make sure the lighting was perfectly. I would want to make sure there was good music or what. You know what I mean? I would like go to that insane place of like wanting to control everything because that's just my personality. So I think I would be more obsessed over those things and like wanting to have like quote unquote like final edit over this like stupid sex tape thing, which is why I like heavily edit the podcast, etc.
So if you ever had a sex tape, it would be top notch.
Production
4K
value would be chef's kiss
score.
Yeah, it would actually be probably not 4K. It would probably be like doing the like Super 8,
right?
Like,
Okay,
give it some vibe.
okay. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I digress. I actually don't. Yeah, I don't think. I personally don't think I would be embarrassed. I don't think I would be embarrassed. I would think I would be like, if I'm making the choice to make a sex tape with my partner, I would be like, part of me wants somebody else to see it.
Then that's the thing is like that was like just like circles back to the idea that like, yeah, like it would be like a huge breach of trust and shit to like, post it on the fucking internet or something like that. But to like not expect others to see it is kind of naive, honestly. Like even I can imagine like even if I never like intended for anyone to see it, I could still see like somehow like, I don't know, my friends scrolling through my phone. I always say, when anyone ever looks at my phone, though, I'm like, don't scroll. You will see a nude very quickly.
You don't scroll.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like someone else is going to see it somehow, some way.
No, I think that's part of the thrill. There is a voyeuristic, performative aspect to it. And it's partially with your partner that you're saying like, ooh, we're going to do this thing. Yeah. And maybe you'll watch it later, or maybe I'll watch it later. Maybe somebody else will see it. That it kind of gets at the like voyeuristic thing where people want to have sex in public, or like there is like a thrill seeking part of it, I think. I mean, I'm just projecting that's my feeling about it onto having not done one. So I can't speak to what it actually feels like, but I don't know if you can shed light on if that is the kind of part of what makes it like titillating, is the thought that somebody else might see it, or
like when I first like made them with my ex, I was curious to see what I looked like when I was having sex. I wanted to see what I looked like when I gave a blowjob.
You wanted to see.
It was vanity.
Yeah.
I was like, you tell me how hot I look, let me see.
Yeah.
And
was it something where you were like, I'm going to keep this video and I'm going to go back to it, like this is a hot thing, so like a totem.
No, I loved it. I honestly want to find it because I want to post those, because he's in porn too, so I'm sure he would be fine with it, but I will make sure. But there's already plenty of sex tapes of him and I out there that we've made since we started porn, but these would be so cool because they're like pre-porn me. I don't even have boobs yet or anything. It's like it's like very real. So it would be fun. But we started with that. I think we started with just like a BJ, and like I only let him record like a minute. You know, I was like I don't want like the full thing, 'cause you do start feeling a little silly and then like self-aware, and you kind of can't fully enjoy it the way you can when there's like no eyes on you, because even when it's just one-on-one in the bedroom, there's still an aspect of performance. Then you add on the idea that a camera is on top of you, and then you get the idea that what if someone else sees this one day, and so like you're kind of thinking about all that, even if it's not a big enough deal, like it was still enough. So I was like, I just want this 1 minute, and then put the phone away so I can like get into it.
No, I mean, it's the same thing with music, where it's like the red light comes on, the recording light comes on, and all of a sudden it changes the way you react, the way you talk, the way you hold your body. obviously, if it's just a phone, we're all used to interacting with phones and people taking videos and, Snapchats and stuff. But is it something where you're cognizant of it? So if you're doing a sex tape, are you aware of the phone? Are you tuning it out? Are you just interacting with the person? Is that part of the enjoyment of it, is like I'm playing to the camera?
It's a little bit of both. Like the best is, I'm like talking about it as like a performer, but the best is when you are with someone that you have chemistry with who's also an experienced performer, because you both kind of effortlessly know how to position each other to get the best and most flattering angles while still not taking any of like the enjoyment and pleasure out of because overthinking is going to take the enjoyment out of it.
Right. And so what are some basic tips? I know you talked about like opening up. What are some basic tips for like flattering angles or ways to position?
It's funny because when I'm thinking about ways to position, I'm thinking about like all the lesbian scenes that I do, because that's usually where I take control. Because usually with guys, it's like they're holding the phone for POV kind of stuff. If you're getting filmed in POV and you're a femme, you've got titties, whatever, and you want to hide your tummy, the best way is to like kind of cradle your boobs with like your arms folded under your boobs, so you can kind of like, it's almost like you're embracing yourself, so that way your arms are kind of covering your tummy, but then your boobs are getting pushed up and together, so the focus is like all on your boobs and on your face, and then it's up to the cameraman to go back and forth from getting the good shots of your titties and your face to penetration. But that's like a good little hack if like you want to cover up your tummy. Because if you don't care, if you're like comfortable with the whole thing, then just like do you. Like who cares? But that's like something that I like learned is as far as like flattering, and also makes your tits look good because they're all like smushed together and like, it's like highlighting them, versus like when you're kind of laying there open, like your whole body is there to see, which is also really hot. Also, like don't just have like your head back because it's going to be all chin. Like kind of like get in like a partial sit up and keep your chin down, eyes up, kind of like, don't just like lay all the way back, because you're going to be bummed when you see like the inside of your nostrils versus your eyes, Yeah. And if you watch porn, you'll probably start noticing these little things that I'm like pointing out. Like you'll see that girls rarely are like laying with like their heads on the pillow. They're usually like they're propped up on their elbows too, which is another way to like keep your face looking good, as opposed to like looking. Because again, sex it's not always gorgeous, but if you're gonna make a sex tape, you want to look your best, because as we've mentioned, probably not gonna be the only people to see it at some point. And then doggy style, contrary to popular belief, it looks better if you close your legs. So you're in doggy, on all fours, like not lazy doggy when you're like on your stomach, but you're on all fours and keep your legs closed and arch your back. It makes your butt look super round and your waist look super small. And when you open up your legs, it loses that bubble butt effect.
Are there positions that are more attractive on camera than others? The ones you would avoid? I'm
trying to think of like the easiest ones for people that have like, I think like Mish POV and doggy POV are great because you can see everything. You can see the face.
Missionary POV and doggy POV. Okay.
Like missionary POV, you get to see the face and the boobs and the stomach, and then and then doggy POV, you get to see their back and the butt, and then you get really good penetration. That's like usually where you see it the best. And then if you're not going to do POV and you're just going to set up like the camera, spooning looks really cool. You can usually see the penetration if you open up your legs and spoon, as opposed to keeping them closed. So if you can just kind of picture that. So you're in spoon, and then you as the receiver of the cock.
As the little spoon.
You as the little spoon, open your legs. And that's like that looks really good. Also, missionary, if you put your like legs over their shoulders versus like just down and like, or even like wrapped around them, it really, you lose a lot of like being able to see anything. So either like we get like knees to elbows or your like feet over their shoulders type stuff. So that way you can still kind of see penetration like from the side and stuff. That looks really good. And then I would also, just also like having the lighting making you feel sexy is great. So you don't want it to be too dark, you can't see anything, but like I like to have the lights generally low in my bedroom, and then I'll use the ring light and I'll adjust it to see like how it looks. And then I'll use my neon lights for mood. And honestly, I feel like natural light is really flattering on phones too. So if you shoot during the day, you're also gonna get like a really clear image. And opening up probably won't even be like as big of a deal because everything's so crystal clear in the daylight. So yeah, like spooning and Mish and Doggy are like pretty foolproof. I'm trying, like, what else is there? I mean, Cowgirl looks awesome. You can do it both ways. You can do it where it's your butt facing the camera, so there's that, or you can do it where your boobs are facing the camera. And so again, depends on what your favorite asset is.
All right.
You can edit your shit too. I mean, like really, if you see it and like you hate certain parts, like you can cut those parts out and piece it together. I mean, we live in like a really like everything's at our fingertips. You can like edit your porn on your phone. So
iMovie, it's free.
Yeah, so you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater if you hate one moment where you think, you know, you look stupid or you're making a dumb face or whatever. But like I sometimes think I'll look really stupid, but then like my partner like loves that moment because it's like a real moment and stuff. So if you're making it with someone, also try to respect their wishes of like, we're both using these for our own things. So like if you love this moment because I look like I'm having a really good time, then like fucking keep it. And I'll keep the part where I look like a fucking goddess, you know?
For like an amateur, for the, you know, listeners out there who are like maybe thinking of doing this for the first time, are people uploading to Pornhub that are amateurs, or what? How did that all work? Or
like if you're an amateur and you're wanting to like share your porn? Yeah, Pornhub.
Yeah, and you can just go on there.
You can just make an account and post, and
it's just like YouTube, but for.
Yeah, and there's actually like, you know, I've talked about it previously, but you know, it's kind of like YouTube where when you start getting a certain amount of views, you start making money off your videos. And there are couples that never show their faces that have like multi-million views and are probably making a living off of their sex tapes. And, you know, it works well for them being anonymous because no one has tattoos. So there's none of that. And the positions that they do, so they just don't show the girl's face and it's like all POV. Or it's tight shots. So even if it's like not like the guy holding the camera and stuff, they position it in a way where you can see the girl's entire body and then just the guy's lower half. And I mean, there's so many like couples that I see on there, and there's couples that like do like traveling porno stuff and like outdoor porno stuff.
Oh, cute.
And you still like don't really know like what they look like. It's kind of cool actually that these people can be like that much of an exhibitionist without fully giving it. It's for me, I'm like, oh, like you won't fully commit, like whatever, fuck you, show your face. But it is a cool concept though, because it also keeps it anonymous where like you can jerk off to it because they could be anyone, which is kind of smart and kind of cool. And some people they do it so well. And like they shoot it on like nice cameras, you can tell, and like get really creative with the angles and all that shit. And I don't even know how to do that. That's like when it comes, I feel like that's like they're like straight up pornographers. They're not like making sex tapes. Like they're like doing the damn thing. But for me, I love the realism, and I love like I love the more amateur the better. And I know so many people in porn, and I don't like particularly like want to masturbate to most of them, just because it's like, I don't know, it's just not the way it is anymore. So like I love the anonymous like amateur stuff. It's my fave. All right, guys, it is now time for the DM of the week. If you've been listening to our prior episodes, you will know that we've really been wanting to hear from you guys. Anything really. If you want to share a story about, you know, like I don't know why I always use like the example of getting fingered at prom, maybe because I never went to prom and I want to hear about somebody getting fingered at prom. Just anything funny, sex, love, relationship, friendship, weird, awkward, whatever. We just want to hear some stories, and you can email them to us at slutshamethis@gmail.com. We actually have gotten some really good stories, and I'm going to save some of the juicier ones for next time. But in the meantime, this is a really funny anecdote that I really enjoyed. The subject of this is podcast vagina, an owner's manual. Now, that's in reference to a previous episode. Do you remember what episode number that was, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, that was episode 22.
Oh, cool. On episode 22, Vaginas, an owner's manual, I tell you guys all about the ways in which we can help our vaginas remain infection-free. And so this person who's writing in is referencing that particular episode.
After listening to your latest podcast about vaginas, it reminded me of a friend who every day after showering puts his penis in a glass filled with Listerine mouthwash for 30 seconds. He's done it for years and swears it stops him from getting quote-unquote infections. I once went on vacation with him and caught him in the act of doing this, which freaked me out. I suppose if it makes him happy. Anyway, thought I'd share with you his own version of penis, an owner's manual.
What flavor of Listerine, I wonder?
The alcohol free, I would hope.
I think it's all alcohol. That burns.
You know, I bet you could use that as sanitizer during these dark times.
A multitasker.
Dude.
Sidebar, the yellow Listerine, the one that just tastes like Listerine. Mm-hmm. I love that stuff.
You love it.
I love it.
Give
it to me straight. I want like the...
What's the purple one?
They make
yeah. It's like...
grape juice?
It's like really minty, but not as... But it's like, I don't know. Look it up, Sweaty. It's the purple one. What color? And do you know if it's Listerine brand in particular? Is that his?
Or is it off-brand CVS?
Yeah, you know, like
cheap
like
stuff.
Fleet versus you know, the off-brand. I'm an off-brand gal myself.
Hey.
Kevin? You have a penis. Would you put it in Listerine for 30 seconds?
No, I don't want to burn my dick.
Yeah, it feels like that would like be really uncomfortable and possibly like not good for you.
Also, the blue, whatever the bluish
the
green Listerine stuff, I feel like it makes your teeth slightly blue until you like brush your teeth.
Yeah, it does. It has like a very like powerful color because like, you know, like sometimes when like your tongue has like that weird white coating or whatever, and like then you do the mouthwash and then your tongue is like blue.
It's blue, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have like brush my
dick.
I mean,
Blue Man Group.
I mean,
it's like Tobias Fuke.
Yeah.
Where he blew himself.
Oh, that's so good. Now I want to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, Arrested Development.
That's what I meant. Why do I get them, like, the names? They're not the same show, but in my brain, the names of those shows, like, they're intertwined. Sidebarring again, because speaking of Arrested Development, Jason Bateman, fucking Ozark is like one of the best shows I've ever seen. And season 3 is out right now, guys. And we're all sitting at home. Might as well fucking watch it. I cried.
Sponsor us, Ozark.
I cried.
Specific show.
I laughed. I got the chills. The performances, the acting, the content. It's more refreshing than Listerine on your dick for 30 seconds. I love that story. Also, like, did he know that you caught him? Like, what was that moment like for everyone involved? I would hope that if I caught a friend doing that, they wouldn't know that I caught them, and then like I could just like never say anything. Because I think what's even more awkward is like that secondhand embarrassment of like they caught you and you caught them, and like what would you do if you walked in on your friend sticking his penis in Listerine?
Laugh.
What the fuck are you doing? Are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you injured?
It would be like, what are you drinking from your dick that you need to...
But also, it's just funny because dicks aren't prone to infection. No. They don't require much maintenance. Also, you know, like, speaking of vagina owner manual, my vagina is loving this break from random porno dick. It's just like, I don't need any of those tips and tricks I've been giving in that episode, because when you don't have a bunch of strangers' penises in you all the time, your vagina kind of just naturally does its thing. However, all that stuff is tried and true for me. But it is really interesting just like having a body and noticing how different it is when I'm not like having sex often. It's like
when like the smog in Los Angeles has cleared and like the rivers run clear and like
it's like my pussy is the Venetian canals, you know. There's like fish like living in there now. Yeah, they're thriving.
There's a dolphin or two.
Yes. So I'm not that lonely because I have the dolphin in my vagina now. Yeah. I don't know, but it is interesting. But it sounds like your friend might be a little OCD. All right, guys, that was so much fun. I literally love reading what you write into Slut Shame This, as long as it's not like you trying to weasel your way into thinking that you're going to send a dick pic or talk dirty to me, because I just ignore that. But there are some good stories that I am finally coming across in the emails, since I've had this downtime to be able to look through the emails. So guys, please, we have this free time. Let's come together and get weird. That could be taken a few different ways if you really think about it. But just email your stories about love, sex, relationships, and awkward times you walked in on your friend dipping their penis in Listerine at slutshamethis@gmail.com. It has been a pleasure as always, and we will be continuing to come out with new episodes bi-weekly, and hopefully we're gonna have some guests coming up because we've got a remote setup now, so we're gonna see if we can get some friends on to chat with us too, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Don't be a stranger, and if you can, stay home and stay safe. Bye.